Hey everybody, my name is Matthew Sambanis. I'm a certified public accountant. My firm is based in Long Island, New York, and if you're into economics, finance, making money, business growth, things of that nature, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And in today's video, we are going to discuss Chipotle's recent earnings announcement, if there is a recession on the horizon, or if there is a recession already here for that matter. And we're going to explore other topics as well, including inflation, shrinkflation, the tariffs, and other good stuff like that. But most importantly, the purpose of this video is to focus on Chipotle's recent earnings announcement, to do an analysis of it, and to find out, is it their overpriced burritos or is there really a recession? So please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know your opinion below. And I'm going to share my experience with Chipotle as well. So anyway, the headline reads, America's #3 fast food giant suffers first sales slump since the pandemic, sparking fears of looming recession. For the first time in 5 years, Chipotle has reported a decrease in same-store sales, which 5 years ago was the pandemic, also known as COVID, which we'll not get into that today. But that's the last time they actually had a decrease in same-store sales. In my opinion, I started noticing a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years ago, that Chipotle is just completely overpriced. It's absurd. I actually did a mock order. And, for me, it's principle. The fact that I was going in there, I get a steak burrito, I get guacamole, and I get queso. And it was $18, $19, $20. And then you factor in a soda, 21, 22, plus another 10%, 8.625% sales tax for New York State. Other states are just as bad, other states are worse. But basically, it's a huge expense. And, in my opinion, a burrito should be 12 or 13 bucks. And listen, I understand this company needs to make money. They have huge overhead. Their margins are very good. They do charge a premium. Their job is to make money, but it's also at what point do you stop making money? So I'm surprised that this story didn't come sooner than later at this point. Anyway, the company last reported sales that fell a surprising 0.4% this quarter when investors were expecting 1.4% growth. Overall, the company made $2.88 billion in revenue during the quarter, short of the $2.95 billion. To put that in proper perspective, let's just say they're doing $3 billion a quarter. That's $12 billion in sales for the year. This stock is valued at about $70 billion. I mean, that's a huge premium that you're paying, close to 7 times sales for a company that's growing at less than 1%, and granted, their overall revenue was up because they opened a lot of stores, which they continue to do. I think about another 350 through the end of this year, 2025. But at the end of the day, if your main store sales are falling, that's a serious issue. So, and that also to me shows that the stock market is very frothy, if not in a bubble. And, they blamed it on after people splurged for the holidays, consumers pulled back during the first quarter and were conservative in spending and dining. There's also a lot of uncertainty swirling around, which makes people think twice about spending on meals. So what's your experience? Did you pull back after the holidays? I mean, they didn't have this excuse a year ago, and they're also forecasting tepid sales for the rest of the year, and they also blamed it due to inclement weather. But, if the sales are going to be down this quarter due to weather, but they're going to be down for the whole year, then they're one of two issues, right? Either they're too expensive, people don't like their product as much, make it 3 issues, or they're overpriced, or 4, a combination of all 3. And, the only problem, not the only problem, but one of the other problems Chipotle faces is tariffs, right? The cost of their product is going to go up, which means they're going to have to then pass that cost along more to the end consumer. And that means they're going to turn away more and more consumers, right? Now, at the end of the day, you can either make your money in quantity, quality, or both. Um, Thankfully, uh, $20, $25 is not going to make or break me, but it's just the principle. When I get a burrito, I'm expecting $12 or $13, not 20. Um, anyway, one of the members of X noted that whatever you think of Chipotle, they are a decent barometer of the general economy, considering they're the third largest restaurant in the country. Okay, fine. I happen to agree with that. Also, commenting on the sales dips on Reddit, somebody noted that the company's portions have gotten smaller while their prices have steadily increased. So you have a mix of inflation and shrinkflation, which I agree with. In particular, not just at Chipotle, but everywhere. That's the case pretty much everywhere, other than Costco. I happen to love Costco. I disagree with some of their policies, but that's another video for another day. Anyway, Chipotle has faced a wave of criticism for its portion sizes. And, moving along, the new CEO, Scott Boatwright, said the burrito chain saw a slowdown in consumer spending. And I guess the other thing is the former CEO of Chipotle left at the right time to go to Starbucks to turn Starbucks around, which is, I've also done a video on Starbucks, I believe. And, same thing. You go there, it's $5.50 for iced coffee or whatever these fancy drinks are. It's asinine, and people are tapped out. And even if they're not tapped out, they're just sick of spending so much money and wasting it. So these CEOs can get $30 million a year paychecks or $100 million a year paychecks, whatever the case may be. And listen, I'm sure they're entitled to it, but enough is enough. Executives at Chipotle cited both a slowdown in consumer spending and adverse weather as two of the factors that dampened demand for its burrito and bowls. And as I said before, they lowered their outlook for the full year same store sales growth for the rest of the year. So you can't blame weather on that when that hasn't happened yet. And sorry if you hear the pages turning, by the way, because customers started pulling back on their spending in February because of economic uncertainty. CEO Scott Boatwright told analysts on the company's conference call. Could you call that a Trump factor? Possibly. Could you attribute it to the tariffs? Possibly. They haven't really kicked in yet, but yeah, it's definitely scared to bedazzle out of people. Or is it a hangover from Joe Biden, or a combination of both? I don't do politics, but let me know what your opinion is. I think Trump could have done much better in his first term. Hopefully he'll do better in the second term. I agree with some of the stuff he's done. I disagree with a lot of other stuff he's done so far. And Biden doesn't know what planet he's on. The poor guy is senile, if you want to call a spade, with all due respect. And, pretty much, like I said, I went to place an order for pickup at Chipotle. And, I got a soda, I got chips, and I got my burrito, and the total was $23.50, right? $23.50 plus another $1.83 for sales tax. So that makes my total $25.33. For a burrito, chips, and a soda, it's now $25 in America. Let that sink in. Yeah, that's why people aren't going there. And Chipotle, you want a solution? Lower your prices. I understand you don't want to do that, but think about it from a standpoint of you're dating a new girl, right? Or you're a girl dating a new guy, I guess. And you want to go on a date night to Chipotle, something cheap and casual for two people to eat, two drinks, two burritos, two bags of chips, $50. I mean, that's not casual. You might as well go to Starbucks and spend $12 on two coffees and keep your costs down, right? That's what I used to do when I was dating. I would just go and always say Starbucks, right? Because at least I know I could limit my time there and keep my costs down. And especially if it was a first date, then no harm, no foul. It cost me $12 and some of my time. Anyway. What's your opinion? Is it these overpriced burritos? Is it the economy? Is there a recession? Is it tariffs? Or is it combination of everything I just mentioned. Anyway, hopefully you found this helpful. In terms of the actual stock, I think it's way overpriced. I think the stock market's overpriced. I think it's going to come down further. I did take a little breather from YouTube and I started again. But if you watch any of my older videos, and most of them I said to buy gold, and gold has absolutely skyrocketed. I still recommend it. And hopefully you found this informative. Thanks, and have a great rest of the day.